Hello, everyone out there in Tampa Bay and beyond. This is James Knowles coming at you for the RBLR Sports podcast. I am here tonight to cover the Rowdies like I usually do, and I am here tonight with my usual co-host, Carlos. However, it is not just going to be Carlos and myself. Who else are we going to have on this show? It's not producer Eureka. It is not one of the writing staff for the Rowdies. No, we are going to be talking to one of the actual Tampa Bay Rowdies 2026 roster. So if you would like to stay tuned, and if you would like to listen to that, well, I don't know what else to tell you. It's Jahmali Waite. Jahmali Waite is the guy that we're going to be talking to this evening. That's really I think that honestly, Carlos, I hope I'm not sounding too sycophantic here, but this is, I think, one of the bigger signings of this offseason period. We knew going into the way that 2025 ended, we knew that this was going to be a big year with a lot of turnover for sure. And I really think that getting a strong keeper at this level takes you a pretty good way. And without trying to sound too rude to anybody, I think that we saw the problem with not having a strong keeper for a lot of 2025. So let's look at the positives here. And 2026, I think that we've got a really, really strong keeper. I think that we've got somebody who's in a perfect age range to kind of stick it around, provided that everything works out that way. And maybe we have him here for a long time. That's what I'm hoping for in this particular moment. So, yeah, Jahmali Waite that's a really big signing. I thought so at the time, and I'm very excited to speak with him later on. Carlos, is there anything else that you want to add to that before we jump into the pre-Jahmali Waite part of this episode?
Yeah, no, we're jumping into appetizer in a second here. But no, super excited about the signing. We're gonna have a great conversation with him, obviously. We'll talk about my first meeting with him back in November of 2021. And I'm just really excited to have him on the Rowdies. He's proven to be one of the top goalies in the USL over the last 4 seasons. Was tremendous at Pittsburgh, was tremendous at El Paso. And I'm sure under the guide of legendary Rowdies staff, Stuart Dobson, that he will only get better. So I'm really, really excited to have him on the club. Like I said, when we signed him initially, and I'm even more excited to chat with him in a little bit. But James, before we do that, quickly, how are you doing before we talk about some preseason and other happenings in the USL?
Yep, I am doing well. I'm doing much better right now because I am not feeling ill, although we do have the illness that had me now going around my household. So it's not the best time exactly here, but as I said, I am at least doing better, and I am trying to help everybody else get to where I am in this particular moment. But let's not focus on sicknesses and all of that kind of stuff. Let's focus on the positive things here. And the positive is, yes, we will talk with Jahmali Waite later. We also have a preseason game to recap. Carlos, you got a little bit of viewing of that game. So we have some pretty close to firsthand knowledge, I would say, on this. We also had an RBLR presence at the game itself. So producer Eureka was there, intrepid as he is. And we're not going to have all of the information, but I think we're looking pretty good. So we're going to get into that as well. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe on any major podcast platform. And of course, please follow RBLR Sports on all your social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, whichever one I'm forgetting that Eureka is going to slap my wrist for later on. At RBLR Sports, remember, that is where you can find us, and that is where you can see Eureka slap my wrist. So let's get into the preseason recap. The Rowdies lost 2-0 to Philadelphia Union. It should be noted that Philadelphia Union are in MLS, so a loss isn't that bad. It should also be noted that preseason results do not matter at all. They truly do not.
Unless we win 5-0, in which case I'll declare ourselves champions of the league. But continue.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. So other than that particular scenario, preseason results do is getting people fit in game-like scenarios and
Yeah.
avoiding injuries. That is what matters. With that being said, I want to go through the lineup and I will go through the substitutions that came into the game. And then I will turn it over to Carlos to give us his completely unbiased review of the proceedings from at least the second half. So, Jahmali Waite, our interviewee, he started in net. In front of him were Dion Akoff, Brian Schaefer, Leland Archer, and Alex Rodriguez. There was a midfield of Max Schneider, Lewis Hilton, Alex Mendez, and listed three, I suppose. I don't know if it was a 4-4-2, which it might have been here, but I listed three of Marco Micheletto, Russell Cicerone, and MD Myers. So looking at that is a little interesting because it could be a 4-3-3. More than likely, it was probably a 4-4-2. Although it's still kind of interesting to suss out where people were. The substitutions for this game, Austin Pack came on for Jahmali Waite at halftime. A trialist came on for Dion Akoff in the 62nd minute. Charlie Ostrom came on for Brian Schaefer in the 45th. Lawrence White came on for Leland Archer in the 62nd. Excuse me. Alex Rodriguez came off for Nathan Dos Santos in the 30th minute. Sebastian Cruz came on for Max Schneider in the 62nd. Lewis Hilton was subbed out for Pedro de la Bella at halftime. Alex Mendez also came off for trialist. Micheletto seemed to play the whole time. Cicerone came off for a trialist, and MD Myers switched out for Carson Henderlong at halftime. That really doesn't help us out in terms of figuring out what the formation was. So yeah, I don't know if we're still keeping the I don't know if we're still maintaining the idea that right now the Rowdies are trying to play 3 back, 5 in the midfield, 2 up top. Honestly, this seems to me it was a starting 4-4-2. If I had to guess, it looks to me like possibly Alex Rodriguez was a fullback, I would say on the left side, and then Nathan Dos Santos came in for him as the left back. So that would make sense, but it's not something that I would have expected. So maybe there's more to it than that, and we have a little bit more to go off of here, at least for the second half, because Carlos got to see that portion. Carlos, what did you think of the formation that you saw, with obviously all of the substitutes that came on and Marco Micheletto, and what did you think of the Rowdies' performance overall?
Yeah, no, I mean, it like things were moving around. It felt like we were playing with like the wing back situations. I'm not sure we're trending away necessarily from kind of like the traditional 3 in the back that we've been running with. But again, things move around in preseason. Based on what I was watching, I was excited by Russell Cicerone, who we chatted with last week, obviously. He did miss a penalty in the second half. Again, preseason, we'll throw it up to, early on in the season, jitters. We'll get those out of the way early. Those missed penalties out of the way early. But I was excited by how he was looking out wide. He was moving really well. He's super quick. He made some great runs. Cicerone was exciting for me for his time on the game. I really liked Marco Micheletto too, and his kind of attacking midfield role. He was exciting to watch. I think he produced a lot of great passes and a lot of great chances. I went back and watched a majority of the first half too, and it was fun. Like it was connected. It felt like the Rowdies should have definitely converted on 1 or 2 goals at least. Scoreline might have been unfair based on what Eureka and I were chatting about before we started recording this podcast. We were dominating against what were probably the Philadelphia Union kids. A lot of backups, reserves, some trialists, I'm sure. And they brought in their heavy hitters when we started rotating some guys out, putting some trialists in there as well. I counted 4 trialists on the field in the second half. Not that this matters, but it was number 37, 38, 11, and 5. So again, the second half lineup consisted of 4 trialists. I'm okay conceding 2 goals when there's 4 people that I don't know if they're going to be on the team or not,
Mhm.
next week or anything.
Yeah.
Um, Number 5 was confused on kind of where he was supposed to be on the second goal Philadelphia let up. But I think it was just kind of a miscommunication with him and Lawrence White, which I would, be okay with at this point in the preseason, especially between a trialist and Lawrence White, who presumably haven't played much soccer together. But yeah, second half slowed down for us in the attack, certainly because of that, because we're rotating people in and out. Of the trialists, I was really impressed by how 11 looked out on the right wing. He was exciting to watch. It seemed like he started kind of in that right wing back role, but ended up more in the attack as the second half progressed. And then trialist number 5 was one that dropped back into that right side defensively. But 11 was impressive on the ball. He looked confident. He put in 1 or 2 great crosses into the box that I think were maybe just a little bit out of reach of Carson Henderlong. 11 looked good. I was excited by what he was able to bring onto the field, and I would imagine that's a player that continues to be eyed by the Rowdies. I really liked him on the wing. I think could be another great depth piece. Same thing for 37 on the other side, on the left wing. I thought 37 was pretty interesting. Super confident on the ball. Maybe try to do a little bit too much at times. Maybe trying to prove himself to the coaching staff and to the Rowdies and fans who were there. But super confident on the ball. I think very, very confident for a trialist. Trying to make his name in this club. Whoever he is, but I was really interested by what he was able to do on the wing too. I think there were some interesting options among those 4 trialists. That being said, other guys that we know are on the Rowdies performance. Jahmali was pretty good, and we'll talk to him later on. Didn't really have to do a ton in his time on the field. Leland Archer looked conditioned, ready to go. He was a brick wall for a majority of this game as well. And yeah, I mentioned Micheletto and Cicerone already. Those were the other 2 that I think were offensively really, really exciting to watch. I think Cicerone is going to be a fun one to keep an eye on. And I think that is kind of confirmed after this preseason. I always kind of assumed him, and we talked about this with him last week. I always kind of assumed him to be kind of like an out-and-out striker just because of the amount of goals he scores. But it seems like he's really much more confident and comfortable out on the wing, which is kind of where he was out wide for a lot of this game. And he looked really fun and exciting and produced a cool brand of soccer that I think Dominic Casciato is looking for in his players. Nice. So minus the PK miss, which we can excuse in the preseason because who cares?
Right.
I'm excited to see him and MD Myers continue to link up as the season progresses. Shout out to Schneider and Cruz as well. I thought they looked pretty good in the midfield. I was curious to see how they look as we kind of try to shape out who, makes up that midfield. I think there's so much talent in there right now between Schneider, Cruz, Hilton. You have Dolabella and Micheletto as kind of the attacking guys, and Luis Alvarez and Alex Mendez. I think there's just a lot of talent that you would label as midfielders that I'm really excited to see how they continue to shape the roster going forward and the starting 11, because Dominic Casciato has a plethora of talent to figure out who gets the minutes and who doesn't. So a good problem to have, certainly.
Yeah.
And one that I think I'll continue to keep an eye on, because I think Schneider and Cruz were kind of my wild cards in the midfield going into the season. They're 2 guys I didn't know a ton about, but they both have very similar skill sets and are able to kind of be the track back and, stop an attacking play before it happens in the midfield kind of guys. I'm really curious to see how they continue to look on this roster. So, Rowdies lose 2-0 in a game that, again, doesn't matter, but was excited to get some live action. And for those of you in the stadium, I'm sure it was fun to be back at Al Lang. We had Eureka there. We had RBLR writer Connor there as well. Santiago was there. So some RBLR presence there that were testament to how great it is to be back at Al Lang, especially doing this in February. Like, that's awesome. If you recall, it took until April last year to get back to Al Lang. So don't take this for granted. We are 2 months ahead of schedule in that sense. And I think that's really cool. Next up for the Tampa Bay Rowdies is Montreal on Valentine's Day. I'm not sure if that is a super attractive Valentine's Day plan for some of your significant others, but if it is, make your way out there and enjoy a preseason game with your loved one. I think that'd be a fun time. Incredibly sicko of you, but I love it. So go ahead and do it. That's your next chance to see the Rowdies live. Again, don't take that for granted. We're in February and we get to see the Rowdies live at Al Lang. That's really, really cool. Philadelphia gave us a live stream to watch if you weren't there this past weekend. I don't know if Montreal does that. I would love for the Rowdies to do that if they can. But we will see what that looks like, if at all, this weekend. Again, the Rowdies lose 2-0 to Philly. Next up, Montreal, February 14th, Valentine's Day, 6 p.m. You can get your tickets online. And if you have season tickets, they're already included. Beautiful. James, anything else you can make of this? I don't know. I don't think you had a chance to watch this one, right?
I did not.
So do you care about this game at all? Is it just fun to, know we played some minutes again?
It's fun to know we played some minutes for sure. I think that it's going to be a lot more interesting as some of these trialists start to turn into players. Are we going to see more depth pieces named, or is there potentially even a starter in there? At this point, who can say? I think that the most potential that I see for that would be on the right side, specifically where Dion Akoff is, and that's because he's 34 years old. That doesn't mean that he's incapable of playing, but I would just assume that it's less likely that they're going to rely on him as much at that age. So maybe there's a spot up for grabs. There are probably spots up for grabs everywhere if the right player comes along, right? Yeah. Who's turning down somebody like I don't need to say it, but who's turning down, you can name whoever you want in any given position. But it'll just depend on who becomes available at any given time. And I think that I'm excited to see exactly which of these trialists turn into actual signings and which of those become players that we remember down the line.
Yeah. Akoff looks solid, by the way, in the minutes I got to see live as well. So like you said, maybe there's an opening there for jumping into a starting role, but I think he, on the ground from the select a seat event, folks that were there said he was looking super quick, super fit, active, looked engaged. I could say the same thing about his preseason minutes I got to see this weekend as well. I think Akoff continued to meet those descriptions. And I think he would be a fine starter if we went into the season with him in 2 months, month and a half or so. So, exciting. I'm excited. I don't have a ton to say about some of the other guys. They saw the field and they got minutes and they got their legs under them, and that's all we really want in the preseason. So, good to see. I'm curious to continue to see how Ostrom develops with the Rowdies. I think he's going to be a really, really fun piece to watch. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. Dos Santos came in, was pretty quiet, was engaged with the back line, was good. But I think he'll be a big piece this season as well. Who else? Yeah, and Henderlong came in the second half, didn't have a ton of opportunities, like we said, with the rotation. But again, he's a guy that I think has a dark horse potential to be a regular starter because of what he was able to do in League One last year. Cool. That's it. Rowdies lose 2-0 to Philly. Again, they pick it up again on February 14th, this Saturday, against CF Montreal, not the Impact anymore, unfortunately. Get your tickets online. If you have season tickets, go to the game because they're already included. James, before we jump into our conversation with Jahmali Waite, I'm going to throw in a quick shameless plug here to say that liking and subscribing is free, but if you need some new threads, you can support this podcast just a little bit more by heading over to shop.rblrsports.com and checking out all the fun designs that have been cooked up over there. The link is in the description. You can use the promo code COYR for 10% off your order. Again, COYR for 10% off your order at shop.rblrsports.com. James, let's get into this conversation with new Tampa Bay Rowdies goalkeeper and Jamaican international, Jahmali Waite.
Let's do it. And here we are with the new Tampa Bay Rowdies goalkeeper, Jahmali Waite. Jahmali Waite, it is an awesome opportunity for us to speak with you, not only because you are a new member of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but there is personal history between RBLR Sports and yourself. We're going to get to that in a bit. Before we do any of that, it's a Tuesday, and I'm assuming that you guys have been working and training and everything. How are things going for you personally right now?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, new team, a lot of new guys, so it's been good just getting to know the guys and getting to know the city a bit, and just getting acclimated here in Tampa.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully Tampa's been treating you well. I know the weather actually has been a little bit weird for us this time of year, but don't worry, it won't last very long. Carlos, I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, no, you never know right now, James. I feel like it's been weird. It's been cold everywhere. Up here, it's still like a million below zero. So who knows? I can't make that promise. But Jahmali, great to have you here. Like James said, it's always a really, really good opportunity for us to chat with any member of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but especially new faces. I think it's great for fans to get a feel for, obviously who you are, the player, the goalkeeper, but especially who you are, the person, right? I think you have a really, really cool history. Obviously, we'll touch a little bit on your, background and playing career and your time with the Jamaican national team too, which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. Again, thanks for joining us. This is a really great opportunity. James mentioned personal history with Jahmali. I mentioned it right before we started recording that my sophomore year, I got to witness Jamali's last college soccer game as a member of the team I wasn't rooting for as a Georgetown student. And, we were giving him some good chirps, but I think you took it in good spirits and, took a picture with us at the end. I want to say my fraternity was having a party that night. And we're like, Jahmali, you should pull up.
Yeah, you did invite me to the party.
But you know what? I'm glad you're on my side now. This is gonna be really, really fun, and obviously a huge welcome to the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Jahmali, I just want to ask you just off the rip a little bit about your introduction into soccer. Just kind of give us some background as to how you came into the game, how you ended up at Fairleigh Dickinson, right? That's where you started your college soccer career.
Yep.
Can you give us some insight into your early, playing career?
Yeah. So obviously, I grew up in Jamaica, so just playing, soccer in the street with my friends. Started playing youth soccer. Was not a goalie. I remember the specific game where it was like U15, I think, and the goalie didn't show up, and I was the tallest player on my team, and coach said, I think that's how it is for most goalies, but
Yeah.
the coach said you're going in net, went in net, and I did good, and I kind of stayed in net ever since. I went to high school in Jamaica. I went to Jamaica College, which is the best high school in Jamaica in terms of soccer. I think we won the championship like 6 years in a row. Got recruited from there to go to play in Philadelphia Union Academy. So I was there for 2 years and then went from there to Fairleigh Dickinson. Played there 3 years, won the championship my junior year, and then transferred to UConn. Didn't really go as I wanted to at UConn with the whole COVID thing and, messing that experience out. But, enjoyed my time there. And yeah, I went to Pittsburgh from there, 2 years in Pittsburgh, 2 years in El Paso. And, now I'm really happy.
Oh, we lost you for a second.
Oh.
I think we're back. Really happy. And then that's where we lost you.
Oh yeah. So really, really happy to be here in Tampa.
Awesome. Two questions. One, first of all, what position were you playing before you jumped into goalie in your younger days? Were you a goal scorer?
I was not. I was outside back. I was like, I'm really fast,
Yeah.
which is, most outside backs are really fast. So yeah, I was actually outside back.
Okay. Follow up. I read that and we'll talk about your Jamaican national team experience and
Okay.
everything in a little bit too. But was there a connection between ending up at the Union Academy and Andre Blake? Was that something that there was a connection there? Did he see like, this guy's the future? We're gonna bring him with me to Philly.
That was never said to me, but I could see where it's a thing where, like they got Andre out of college. So could we get, a goalkeeper from Jamaica that we could maybe build in earlier years than college, try to get him before that and kind of, build towards that. But, that was never confirmed to me or yeah, but
Okay. So we can speculate.
yeah.
That's awesome. And obviously, like you said, you ended up here at, my favorite team in the entire world, Tampa Bay Rowdies. But before you ended up here, you've got some experience under your belt with the international team. Can you tell me a bit about how it's been like playing for your country, playing in the Gold Cup, showing up in World Cup qualifiers? Just tell us a little about that experience, because I don't think it's very often that we get a ton of folks in our club that have been playing for their national teams. I think it's really, really cool. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, no, it's been a really amazing experience. I played U17 national team, U20 national team. Didn't never really crossed my mind to make the jump to the senior team, but when that opportunity came, I was very excited about it. And, once I got in the door, I put my head down and worked hard and had the opportunity to play in some, great games for my country against Mexico. I played in Copa America, Gold Cup, uh, played a couple World Cup qualifiers. So, it's been a really amazing experience. And, you know, we haven't really qualified for the World Cup yet, but hopefully we can get to that. And yeah, I think that'll be the icing on the cake of, everyone plays for the country to play in a World Cup. So the fact that it's, right there for me, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, we're all rooting for you here, and I think it'd be such a cool experience. Obviously, you're already here in the U.S. You won't have to travel far for the World Cup if everything works out. So fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, thank you.
James, throwing it your way.
Yeah, I will jump in, and I wanted to kind of take it back a little bit to what Carlos was talking about with your college career and actually pre-college career. So first of all, I just wanted to ask you, what is the soccer scene like in Jamaica? What is it like there in terms of the level and, sending players to, I guess, other levels too? Because I feel like there are a lot of players who end up playing in USL and even around possibly the lower leagues in England. I feel like a lot, but there's a lot of talent there, it seems.
Yeah, no, for sure. I didn't play the professional level in Jamaica, but from even high school, I think our high school games sell out. We play in the national stadium, like the big games, and they sell out the stadium more than when the national team plays. So
Wow.
high school in Jamaica is a big thing. And even the Premier League now there in Jamaica, you see a lot of guys. I think there's a couple guys that went to League One in England. There's several guys playing here in the USL Championship and even League One, I think, in USL. So I think, the level maybe is not where it needs to be, but you see there's definitely talent there, and you see guys, making the jump from there and, coming to the US and going to England to play. So yeah.
And with that said, another connection between you and Andre Blake, when you were in college playing for Fairleigh Dickinson, ultimately you transferred to UConn, but that's where Andre Blake played before he went to the Philadelphia Union. Did that weigh on your mind at all when you made that transfer? Is that part of the reason?
Not really. A lot of people say I've basically been following Andre my whole career. Um, that's not something I tried to do. If that was what I did, it wouldn't be a terrible idea
No,
given,
of course not.
his level and where he is, but that wasn't really what I was trying to do. It just happened to be, how it worked out in the end. But a funny story about that. So when I was actually in Union Academy, I would train with their second team, and I'll be there with Andre. And making the decision to go to college there, I think I didn't know until like later on in the year that I had to basically leave a year early to go to college. And so Fairleigh Dickinson came in and they're like, we can give you a full scholarship. And there were a couple other colleges that were probably at a better conference, better level of playing than Fairleigh Dickinson that were like, hey, it's a bit late. We
Hmm.
can give you 50% your first year and a full ride from then. And, in talking to him, he kind of guided me in that and was like, look, it doesn't matter where you go. It's just, what you do when you go there. And he's kind of been, from that early on in my career, he's kind of been a good, mentor and a guide for me. And yeah, so going to UConn, I think was didn't really have to do with anything with him, but just their history and what they've done, and the fact that I'd get to showcase my talent on a bigger college stage was kind of the big decision for me in going there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And to round out my questions about college, usually I wouldn't take all of these questions, but you do have a very interesting history even before you get to the professional level. So honestly, it's cool to get all the background there. But when did you kind of start to take it seriously that this was a potential career option? Was that always something in the back of your mind, and you were just trying to work towards that goal, or was there a moment when you were like, "No, I can do this"?
Um, I don't think there's one specific thing, specific point in my career. I think even the decision to go to college was like my mom was like, "Look, I don't have the money to send you to college. So if you're gonna go
Hmm.
to college, it's gonna have to be through scholarships, right?" And education has always been important to me. So I've kind of, put my head down and how do I use soccer to fuel, other aspirations I have in life. And then once I got to college and I started playing and, you have people around you, coaches and stuff like that are telling you, hey, look, you have the talent to be able to play at that level. And once you have people with that experience telling you that, you kind of feed off that, and then you kind of start taking it seriously.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's cool to hear. So, now let's get into your professional career. You were drafted, but ultimately did not go with MLS, and I think that that's probably for the benefit of the USL because obviously I got a very good player, and ultimately you probably got more playing time. I think we've seen a lot of uh, talented players, a lot of talented keepers, especially go to MLS and really just not get a lot of playing time. So I'm happy that this is a place where you found that you could get what you needed to, get yourself out there and put yourself in spaces like, let's say, getting called up to the national team. But let's start off with your time in Pittsburgh. How did you ultimately get on with them? I know that there are a lot of preseason trials and friendlies and all that kind of stuff going around, especially this time of year. But what was it like getting on with Pittsburgh? And then, how did you like your time there?
I actually, so I was in, like you said, MLS. So I was in MLS with the preseason team. Um, didn't work out there for whatever reason. I went to Pittsburgh. I mean, I was on trial there for about a month, maybe. I don't know. But the season started and didn't really get signed yet. And I was like, okay, like, just waiting for the opportunity. And I think it was the day before the second game of the season, I want to say. I think yeah, we were playing Hartford at home and like the Friday before they offered the contract. And, I was very excited. Didn't really get a chance to play really first couple of games in the season. Made my debut in the Open Cup against Cincinnati at Cincinnati. Uh, we lost the game, I think 2-0 in extra time, but I had a really good game, and from that, earned the opportunity, obviously, to play more games and earn the belief of Bob and the coaching staff there. And end of that year, I think we lost to Louisville in the playoffs, I want to say, in penalty kicks. But first playoff game, I made 3 saves in the penalty shootout to beat Birmingham, and that kind of I think gave a lot of belief to the coaches that, this guy can come in and do a job for us. And they picked up my option for the second year and went there and had a good year. And, yeah, it's just been good ever since then. But I think, yeah, I had to be patient and work really hard over a span of months to even get the opportunity to play. And, once I'm a person where once I get that opportunity, it's I'm gonna hold on to it with both hands, both feet. You're not gonna take it from me, and just put my head down and work ever since then.
Gotcha. And I will turn it back over to Carlos here, but I just wanted to ask before you move to the Rowdies, obviously, are there any standout moments of your career from your time with Pittsburgh or El Paso before you came down? Or what are the standouts, I should say?
Standout moment with Pittsburgh, unfortunately, it was unfortunate for where I am now, but I think we clinched the Supporters Shield in 2023 here in Tampa, beating you guys 1-0. That was a great feeling, winning your first trophy as a professional. So I think, yeah, that's definitely been the standout moment for me so far.
Well, we'll hope that it's obviously reversed this year, but
yeah.
I'll turn it over to Carlos now.
That was an awkward question, James. You put him in a tough spot. Okay, speaking of the team that you beat to win your Supporters Shield and have your iconic moment, now you're obviously with the Rowdies and you're a few weeks into preseason. I really want to get into what it's been like transitioning into obviously a new club in the USL. Not that the move to a new professional club is a totally new experience, but we had our first chance to see. On my side of things, I got to see the YouTube broadcast of the preseason game, and some folks got to be there at the stadium and check out the team on the field. So things are coming together. Players are getting minutes. Guys are out there. I think it was 2-2 draws against NYCFC and then St. Louis. Yeah. And then now the result against Philly. I just want to get a feel on your side of things about how you're feeling the first few weeks of preseason have gone, what the relationship has been like in the goalkeeper union with Austin Pack. How are things going in the locker room in these first few weeks? How are the guys feeling?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been good. Like I said, a lot of new guys, so it's really been about making new relationships and getting to know everyone. And I think we have a really good group of guys, like on the field and off the field as well, which I think off the field is important. But yeah, guys, come in every day and they want to be there together and want to work for each other. And yeah, it's been really good. I mean, Austin's a great guy. I knew him actually before coming to Tampa. So yeah, it's been good getting to know all these guys and just putting our head down and working.
Are there any other connections you've had with any of the other guys before the Rowdies? Because I know we talked about this with James. There's like the Union Omaha Collective. There's like the group that played college soccer together at Marshall. Like there's a bunch of random cliques that knew each other before coming to the Rowdies.
Yeah, I know. So I played with Nate and Russell in Pittsburgh. Charlie and Yanis I was with in preseason with Chicago Fire. Leland I've known for a while just because he's from Trinidad and I'm from Jamaica. Austin I knew from when he was in Hartford. Trying to think here. MD I played League 2 with in Ocean City.
Jeez, look at that.
Yeah.
Half the team.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Yeah, I've known quite a few of the guys from before.
That's really cool. And obviously I love hearing about the connection with Leland off the rip. I think that's a good connection to have between your back line and your keeper before the season even gets going.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a little bit, just, we're talking about the preseason, how everything's been going. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you felt with this last preseason game out there against Philadelphia? Obviously, we mentioned Andre Blake's name a couple times here. We saw a fun clip that the Rowdy social media team put up there where you're going like, hey, you could let us have one or something like that at the end of the game. How'd you feel in your minutes in that game? Are you feeling like things are settling in nicely? Is it still early in the preseason? And by the way, how about that kid? I've never heard of this kid. The kid who started the first half for Philadelphia. Ridiculously good. Kid had a great game too. But tell us how you're feeling in that last preseason game.
Yeah, no, I mean it was good. Obviously it's still early in preseason. We're about 3 games in, but it's good that we're getting good minutes in against good opposition and MLS teams, and we've held our own for the most part against these teams, and showing what we can do. And I mean, for me personally, playing against for for my first game in front of the fans, obviously wasn't a sold out game, but in front of the fans, to be against my home club, to say, in Philadelphia Union, that was great to experience that in front of the fans. And just, I don't think there were that many fans there, but just the energy they brought from the get go, and you felt the love and the passion that they have in a preseason game. I'm just excited to see what the season holds in terms of that.
Yeah, I think we can expect much fuller stadiums going forward. Cool. Maybe that's something. Maybe we're kind of spoiling something. I'll ask you right now. But anything you're looking forward to in particular moving to? I don't know. I'll ask you maybe one on-field and one off-field thing. New experience moving to the Tampa Bay area. I don't know if you're on the Tampa side or the St. Pete side. But can you give us something you're looking forward to? Again, one thing off field in the area and maybe one thing on the field about the stadium, fans.
Off the field, probably, I would say the weather. And just, I actually had a great chance to meet with Perry Vanderbeek, and just what he says about Tampa and the fans and how it was back in his days of playing. And I'm just excited to be around that community, and hopefully we can as a team bring that kind of success here this year, and just kind of get the feeling that he had when he was playing, that hopefully we can get to experience that again here in Tampa, and just get the club back to where it once was. On the field, like I said, I think the last preseason game there wasn't that many fans there, and I felt the energy, and I could hear the fans. So I'm looking forward to when the season officially kicks off, and there's a lot more fans, and just getting that support from you guys, and cheering us on and getting us over the lines in games, because I mean, regardless of what players we brought in, and you need the fans, and I think that the fans are going to be a big part of our success this year, if we're going to have any success.
Yeah. Before I toss it over to James, that's a great. I love hearing about meeting Perry. I loved seeing the content on social media about the guys from the 70s making appearances at the training ground. I think that's really, really cool, because personally, I think that's what makes this club so fascinating for me, is that there's a long history here that a lot of American clubs don't have the blessing of having. So I think that's really cool. So I appreciate you mentioning that. While we're on the social media topic, before I toss it over to James, I've loved seeing the mic up content on Instagram. We've gotten like Marco on there. Can we expect Jahmali mic'd up at some point in the preseason? Is that something we can throw on there?
Hopefully they give it to me. They haven't yet, but I would love to have it.
There you go. For anyone in the front office, wink, wink, listening. James, toss it over to you.
Well, I wanted to kind of get a little bit more background on, I guess, usually I would ask players, what's your playing style? And there are different styles in net, but it's kind of, I guess that's a little harder to suss out. So I just want to ask, what's the kind of personality that people should expect to see on the field? What's the kind of player that people are going to look down and, is this going to be somebody who's very focused and like telling his players? Is this going to be somebody who's interacting with the crowd at all? What's the, where are we expecting Jahmali Waite to fall on that spectrum?
I think it depends on the moment. I think you will most definitely hear me. I'm very vocal in, talking to the team, and, I'm a big believer in, you're at the back, you see everything, and you can organize and get people where they need to be. And, that's a big help to guys around you. In terms of relating to the fans, I think there are going to be moments when I feel like we need more from the fans, and if I can help in getting the crowd riled up and getting you guys supporting us, yeah, you'll definitely see me talking to the fans.
Got you. Good to hear. Um, this is a Rowdies podcast, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask about the big games coming up for Jamaica as well, because I am a huge international soccer fan. Especially that is what brought me into the game as a fan, and I know that Jamaica has it all on the line here. The first thing, of course, is beating New Caledonia. What is it like in these pressure situations where you guys are, this is focus, do or die level? How do you guys how do you prepare for that? It's a month off or so now, but how do you prepare for that?
I mean, preparation is always tough given that you have a lot of guys, coming from uh all over the world really, but I think the main focus has to be like we will never have a better opportunity than we have right now to make a World Cup, and that's just it. We kind of didn't make the best of the opportunity we had before, not qualifying straight from the group stage, but it's kind of like you get a second handout pretty much. Like you can't we will never be in this position again. So I think, regardless of whoever the squad is and whoever the coach brings in, that has to be the mindset of this is the best opportunity we have now, and we probably will have in a long time, and we got to make the best of it.
Yeah, I appreciate that outlook on things. Like I said, I'm a big international soccer fan, and so I'm rooting to have a Rowdies player go to the World Cup again. I think it would be the first time since 2010. Is that right, Carlos? So
I'll have to fact check me on that.
yeah, I think that is true. Actually, Jake, who is listening, would probably be the best person to know that information. But yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome for the club overall, I think. So yeah, we're all rooting for you. And just as a side note for us, I saw what is probably the leaked Jamaica kit for the upcoming year, and I really hope to see that there too. That's a separate issue, but the jersey is just absolutely beautiful as always, but it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Flag is the same color as the Rowdies colors too. So I mean,
That's
even
true.
if you've never gotten into international soccer, this is your time. James, is it time to jump into some rapid fire questions here?
I think that is the perfect time. Otherwise, I'm going to be asking Jahmali about a lot more of international stuff that does not pertain.
Now we're going to start peppering Jahmali with the highly controversial, very divisive questions, such as, what's your pregame meal, Jahmali?
Ooh, I'm gonna say, what did I have on Saturday? Oh, chicken parm.
Ooh, okay.
Chicken parm, but it's not really chicken parm because I don't eat cheese up until a certain day before the game, so it's just breaded chicken with spaghetti.
Okay.
All right, that works. Are you a listen to music before a game type of guy? Do you get hyped up with a particular song? And if so, who are we listening to?
Yes, I've mainly listened to Christian pop, so Forrest Frank, Halvey, KB, yeah,
Okay.
kind of the main guys on the playlist.
Okay. I'm going to go to an on-field question, and I think this is one that James typically asks, so I'm sorry if I steal this one, James. Who is the best player you've ever had the opportunity to share the field with?
Ooh. To share the field with?
Yeah. Against?
I'm just going to say Liam Bailey.
Okay.
That's a good pull right there.
Yeah.
It's probably fair. Last one I'll ask you before I toss it to James. Favorite city/stadium you've had the opportunity to play in?
Yeah. I had the opportunity to play in Mexico at the Aztecas, and so that would probably be that one.
Hell yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Throw in a USL stadium in there. Anyone in particular that stands out?
Probably Al Lang.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. That was a
He's
cop
aiming
out
to be
answer.
he's aiming to be an early fan favorite.
He had to make up for the whole, beating the Rowdies to clinch the
Exactly.
support.
That's right.
Gotta get on the good side.
So, well, yeah, we'll let that one slide. James, over to you.
Well, Carlos asked what your pregame meal is. I would like to ask, I guess, what your cheat day meal is. So you can have anything you want. You're going for like the best meal that you can find, or the thing that you want the most. What is that like? What is that most likely to be? What are you most often going for?
I can tell you right off the bat, my cheat day meal is more 90% of the time, probably 95 Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
What
Did
what
they
I
have Chick-fil-A up in up in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Ah,
Yep.
chicken sandwich or chicken nuggets? What are we going for?
Both. And a
Ooh.
milkshake.
Ooh,
It's a cheat day.
yeah,
that's
No,
true.
that counts.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's true. Jahmali, have you been watching any of the Winter Olympics at all? Because I know Jamaica has a small presence there. So I just wanted to see if that was on your radar at all.
I have not been watching, but I do know we have a bobsled team in the Olympics this year, so that's exciting.
Yeah, and like the jersey coming up for the soccer team, there is obviously a lot of drip coming out there. So I really like that stuff, and there's just a really nice like several of these have very nice winter gear, but that's completely separate from this. So let me ask you, Carlos asked you who would be on your playlist. Who do you think is the person that is going to be generally setting the playlist for the group on trips or getting into the locker room, anything like that?
Probably Lawrence.
Lawrence,
Ooh.
okay.
He's the DJ most of the time.
And
really.
you're happy with that choice so far?
He's been good actually.
Okay.
I might have to throw him some of what I like, but he's done a good job so far.
Okay. I got you. Carlos, you got any more?
No, but eventually when we check in down the line, Jahmali, I'm going to ask you who the worst DJ on the team is.
There we go.
So just be taking notes, and maybe we do that one off the record, so
Okay.
Anybody, but I will ask you that at some point.
Right.
That's cool. Last one I'll ask because James brought it up, and I think it's just fun to think about. If you were doing a Winter Olympic sport, what event are you doing, Jahmali? What are we throwing you into?
Probably bobsled.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's all I got. James, anything else before we wrap it up here?
No, I think that was a pretty good and wide-ranging interview, all over the place with that one, but got a lot of good topics in there too.
That's why we have the rapid fire portion. We start talking about the most important topics of the day. So good stuff. Jahmali, it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, we're so excited to have you on the Rowdies. I found the picture. Hold on, I pulled it up. I don't know if this comes through, but if you're on YouTube, you can look at my phone here to prove that Jahmali and I have been boys since November 3rd, 2021 at 4:01 p.m. is when the picture was taken. Unfortunately for you, Jahmali, we did win that game 1-0.
Did win that game.
but now you're on my side, and we're gonna get a ton of wins together. So I'm really, really excited for this season, Jahmali. Thanks for joining us.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
And that was our conversation with Jahmali Waite. As I said, a very wide-ranging, and he was kind enough to give us all that time, obviously. But it's good when we can get into not only a player's background and everything, and there's a lot of stuff to go into, but someone who has a lot of other things that we could dive into on the side of it. I think that Carlos having a little bit of personal history makes it even funnier.
I love it. Again, when I mentioned it on the pod and or in our conversation, that it was like a bunch of my friends and other undergraduate students back there like chirping him and everything during the game. Like it was super memorable because he was just super joyous about it and had a great time, giving it back and taking the picture at the end of the game with everybody because he felt like he wanted to. Anyway, when he made his way to the pro ranks and I saw he signed with Pittsburgh, it was a topic in the group chat for a little bit with my friends. I was like, oh my God, Jahmali, remember him? He made it pro. Like, oh, let's go. So again, super happy to have him in green and gold. I think he's going to be a big part of the squad, and obviously best of luck with his Jamaican national team endeavors. We hope to see them in the World Cup. That would be really freaking cool. Great conversation, James. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's jump into extra time. One of the Rowdies preseason games coming up is in the Coco Cup. We said a couple weeks ago, we mentioned that it's a charitable fundraiser in remembrance of a USL executive. So again, just putting that on everybody's radar. February 21st, 6 p.m. against Sarasota. It'll be a game that both of these clubs play annually, and we'll rotate the home venue. So this year it'll be at Al Lang. Next year it will be at the Lakewood Ranch complex, I assume is where they'll still be. Is there a stadium plan for Sarasota?
Not announced. So
right.
Yeah, I would be shocked if they had some other plan for 2027.
Yeah. So we could assume we'll play this one in 2027 at Sarasota. In Sarasota, at the Lakewood Ranch complex. But yeah, a great game to keep in mind. We mentioned this already, but again, I think it's just good to mention it again. If there's a preseason game, if you don't want to go to all the preseason games, which I think you should, but if you don't want to go to all of them, this is a fun one to go to. It benefits the Come Get You Some Joy Foundation, which was established by the Kogel family following John's passing last year. The mission statement is to honor John's life by bringing joy, hope, and tangible support to individuals and communities in need, because everyone deserves a reason to keep going. Cool. So yeah, that's another preseason game to keep on your radar. Right before that, we'll be playing against FC Naples on February 18th, Wednesday, 6 p.m. So again, a few more opportunities to catch your Rowdies before the real action kicks off. Put them on your calendars, get out to the games. Again, if you are a season ticket holder, these games are included except the Coco Cup game. So this weekend you have a ticket. The game against Naples next Wednesday, you have a ticket. You have to buy one for the game against Sarasota. Charitable fundraiser. Go ahead, make it right out there to Al Lang Stadium. James, any news happening around the USL? Any fun signings we should mention that have happened since we talked last week?
There really weren't a ton, but somehow this slipped under our radar. It took place a little while ago, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about it. New Mexico United signed winger Jake LaCava. As I said, this took place back in January, supposedly. I did not see it at the time, and let me tell you, we usually go through these types of announcements before we record, so I don't know how it missed us, but regardless, Jake LaCava to New Mexico United. Congrats to him, and I hope he does well out there, except when we face them, obviously.
Cool. Yeah, love Jake LaCava. Seemed like he was only with us for a short amount of time, but he made a good impact, and that really fun attack he had. So best of luck to him. I think I think fans came to like him a lot. So I'll say I'm rooting for him. I'm sure some other Rowdies fans are also rooting for him out there too. So best of luck to him. Cool, James. We are running up on 1 hour. That feels like a perfect time to start to wrap things up. Thank you everybody for listening. We always enjoy your interactions with us, listening to the pod, and I hope you enjoyed that fun conversation with Jahmali Waite. I'm really excited to have him on the team, and I hope you are too. Follow us at RBLR Sports on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, anywhere the social media gods exist. And you want your dopamine, RBLR Sports is also there. You can follow me at CarlosTPA10 on Twitter. James, where can folks follow you?
I'm also on Twitter at RBLRJamesK.
There you go. Always use hashtag AskRBLR Sports. Throw some comments, some questions, some concerns in there, and we'll get around to it. Like and subscribe to the podcast as well, whether you're on YouTube where you can see our lovely faces and Jahmali's face as well, and the picture I showed in there. And we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google Podcasts. Cue the music, James, for another week of Tampa Bay Rowdies preseason action. Come on, you Rowdies.
Come on, you Rowdies.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.